think of our world as a collection of flat maps and solid landmasses, humanity is fundamentally a surface-dwelling species, and that limited perspective colors how we view the true scale of our planet. But consider a different perspective. Imagine shaving off every mountain, continent, and island to make the Earth perfectly smooth. If we used that land to fill the deepest trenches, the whole planet would be submerged under an ocean 2 miles deep. To understand the vertical world we're about to enter, we need a baseline for scale. Compared to an average human or even an elephant, the Mount Everest supertanker is a titan. That ship is nearly 0.5 kilometer long, yet it barely scratches the surface. To see the most extreme environments on Earth, we must look past horizontal maps and descend into the massive 3-dimensional volume of the deep. We begin the drop. At 40 meters down, we hit the absolute safety limit for recreational scuba diving. At 93 meters, we find the Lusitania. Because the ship is 240 meters long, it's actually resting in water shallower than its own length. If it stood upright on the bottom, the bow would still be towers above the waves. Just slightly deeper, at 100 meters, we hit a physiological wall. At this pressure, the nitrogen in a diver's kink becomes a dangerous narcotic, and a single mistake can lead to fatal decompression sickness. Even so, Ahmed Gab pushed a scuba suit to a record 332 meters. If you submerged the Empire State Building here, he would be swimming level with the tip of its antenna. At this depth, the weight of the water column makes manual breathing a physical struggle, and the air we rely on starts to become toxic. This 300-meter mark is the threshold where we stop being visitors and start requiring heavy engineering just to exist. Descending to 500 meters, we reach the maximum dive depth for blue whales. This is also the structural limit for a Seawolf-class nuclear submarine. Any further, and the steel hull is at risk of implosion. Emperor penguins can reach 535 meters. At this depth, the water is pressing in on their bodies with a force equivalent to a polar bear standing on a single quarter. We pass 830 meters. If the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building on the planet, were placed on the seafloor here, the spire would be completely underwater. At 1,000 meters, the final photons of sunlight disappear. We have entered the scary zone, where the ambient pressure now matches the surface of Venus. In the total darkness of 2,250 meters, sperm whales hunt colossal squids. These predators grow to 14 meters long and use tentacles equipped with rotating, razor-sharp hooks to defend themselves. Life at this depth relies on biology that operates without any input from the sun. To find prey in the dark, animals have developed eyes the size of dinner plates and specialized organs that generate their own light. At 3,800 meters, we find the resting place of the RMS Titanic, frozen in the silt for over a century. Dropping to 4,000 meters, we enter the abyssal zone. Every square inch of your body would be subjected to 11,000 pounds of pressure. We hit 4,267 meters. On most of the planet, this is where the journey ends, the average depth of the ocean floor. But while the average floor is vast, there are geological faults that plunge even deeper, creating trenches that ignore the standard limits of the planet's crust. We enter the Hadal zone at 6,000 meters. The pressure here is 1,100 times higher than at the surface. To a human, this would feel like carrying the weight of 50 Boeing 747 jumbo jets. We pass the 6,500-meter mark. This is the absolute crush limit of the DSV Alvin, the submarine that discovered the Titanic. At 8,848 meters, we reach a depth equal to the height of Mount Everest. If the mountain were inverted and placed in the water, the peak would be thousands of meters from the bottom. The Hadal zone is so vast it easily swallows the highest peaks on our planet. Our greatest terrestrial landmarks are lost in this vertical desert. In 2012, James Cameron made a historic solo descent to 10,898 meters inside the Deep-Sea Challenger. The deepest human dive occurred in 1960. Don Walsh and Jacques Piccard reached 10,916 meters. During the descent, the immense pressure caused a viewing window to crack, forcing them to return to the surface after only 20 minutes on the bottom. At 10,994 meters, we hit the Challenger Deep. This is the bottom of the known ocean. To visualize this distance, imagine looking down from the window of a commercial airliner at its cruising altitude. This chart shows how little we actually know. We didn't even discover the second deepest point, the Sirena Deep, until 1997. Currently, only about 5% of the ocean floor has been mapped with this level of detail, leaving the other 95% to be currently a mystery. Beneath the weight of the sea, the most significant secrets of Earth are still waiting in the dark.